makes sense to first and foremost eat, because once you do get on the job, there isn't a guarantee that you'll get to eat during the daytime.
Wow.
We end up having to do multiple things during the course of the day, in particular one shift, and you don't know what calls you're going to get. And that's where your mind is always roaming. What's the scenario going to be? And one of the things that that tends to be very disheartening is, I don't know how the general public feels, but sometimes they tend to have the impression that we're just a pick up and carry system. I mean, the pick up and carry system was something that was done in the 70s and 80s, because at that point it was just the fire services that started the ambulatory service.
Yes.
But after that, it then migrated into having a much more medical-oriented mindset towards dealing with the general public, so that we can at least give pre-hospital care prior to getting to the hospital. And then once you get to the hospital, everything else then just moves.
So tell me.
So what's training
tell
like?
us, even before training experience, how many of you are on staff? Because it seems like it's a job that, is very hectic.
It is hectic. Staffing is roughly around 44, 45.
Okay, so we have about 44,
We're joined by his
45.
gorgeous colleague.
Yes.
Good morning.
Yes. How are you doing this morning? Careful.
Listen, we're not trained to fix it if anything happens with that. But so what made you even want to go into that field?
To be quite honest, it's something that I've been trying to do for a number of years. I've had interest in it.
So you weren't intimidated? Because that would be a field I would not want to go in. Like, let me help you in the other way I can. Let me Google something. Let me call the EMT. Don't let me have to do CPR, compressions, even the lifting. Like, every time I see it, I'm like, I hope, and I know your colleague really well, I'm like, I hope Anelda is bending at the knee, because I don't want her to throw out her back.
That's
Also, you guys are friends.
Yes, this is my bestie's wife.
Oh, because when she came in here, I saw the glitter in your eyes, like you knew her.
And she's a loyal customer too, so yeah.
Oh,
I'll let her
yes.
introduce herself though.
Indeed. She has given you such a grand introduction already without even calling your name.
Hi, good morning. My name is Anelda Tuckett.
Yes. So thank you for joining us here this morning on Island Tea. And for those of persons who are just listening, we're having a conversation with staff of the EMT or the EMS division. And so we are talking about the days, the training. We're now going into the training. And there's a week of activities that's going on. Yeah. So you were talking about the training?
Yeah. For anyone that is going to be interested in getting into this field, you literally have to make your mind right and expect the unexpected. I had already done the preparation prior to getting in.
Oh, so you kind of knew that you wanted to go in.
Because I have a background in police.
Oh.
So.
What was it like for you, Anelda? How long have you been in it?
This year would make 24 years.
Oh, wow.
So we have a veteran and a newbie.
Exactly.
24 years.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
My goodness. What made you want to go into that field?
Actually, originally I wanted to do nursing.
Wow.
Yes. And then the program came up, and it was actually Mr. Hanley who pointed it out to me, and I applied, did the interview, and I got accepted.
Here you are 24 years later.
Yes.
Wow. Listen, I don't know which one is tougher, nursing or EMT, but good luck. Good luck to you guys.
Both of them has their challenges.
They're both
to be quite
intense.
honest. And they, from the nurses' standpoint, they deal with things that we don't deal with. But we deal with things that they definitely do not deal with.
Yeah.
Give us some of the things that you deal with.
As I said, you have to make your mind right. You would have seen a few videos that would have come out on social media.
Yeah, we saw them circulated a couple of times.
Really?
Such as accidents.
Oh,
Accidents
those.
and
Yeah,
when
I usually
person-
just kind of look to see who I know in the EMT. I'm always looking for you.
But
Unfortunately, I'm not always on.
that's right. But when it comes to those, I mean, and I'll take a sway.
You definitely
on
can't be
the side, but
squeamish.
The problem that one of the issues that I have is when those videos are circulating, I would like persons to not do it because it's very insensitive to the person that does need the help, and the way that it is being portrayed, it appears tasteless to me because it's very insensitive to the person that is actually in need, maybe
assistance.
unconscious,
Right.
maybe bleeding,
Right.
thinking about potentially losing their life.
True.
And it's not something that's just for show. It is something that we take very, very serious because every situation that happens on the job, we take it home.
That is true. But recently, I mean, and it could be for a good thing too. Recently, there've been like a slew of television shows highlighting what you guys do. So I'm talking about like the Grey's Anatomy, the 911, the Lone Star,
Yes.
the Station 19, all of
Yes.
those. They highlight the importance of your emergency personnel.
Yeah.
So that is one side of it. And yes, it does get a little bit squeamish. I mean, I'm not put off by things like that because I actually
that's the
did
PG
want to do
version.
medicine at one point, right? So I'm not put off by things like
Likewise,
that. But
but
I still don't think I could do your job. But I do see your point with the videos going around.
Yeah.
So in one way, it's, giving attention to the importance of you guys. Because, without you guys, some of those persons would not make it. And it's about timing and knowing what to do when you're actually on the scene.
technique because
Right.
I know about a doctor, and even when the person is on the ground, some persons feel like they could just pick them up,
You're not
Right.
supposed to.
and that in and of itself, you have to know what to do.
Yes.
That is true.
There's a right way and a wrong way. You
Yeah.
can do
Right.
a whole heap of damage.
So
from-
yeah,
Exactly.
I definitely
Yes.
agree with the putting it out, and then the person, they're unconscious, they don't know that this picture circulating of them.
It can
But-
be traumatic
Yeah.
after the person regains consciousness, and then they're going through their phones, and then they're like, well, that was me.
Yeah.
But they had no prior knowledge. So
And to the
Exactly.
family too.
Exactly.
I think the family more because if it's a more critical case, this is the first time I'm seeing that my relative is injured,
Okay.
Yeah.
and to me
Ooh.
it speaks volumes having to receive the information
That way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, hey, that's my daughter, that's my son, that's my cousin. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's
So I do understand what you mean
But
with
in
that. And I
terms-
don't think people ever think about it that way. So thanks for highlighting that.
No. But in terms of the training, we pretty much go through the entire gamut of.
I was going to use
what
that
you
same
can
word,
do
gamut.
of from treating wounds,
Asthma
vomiting,
patients.
asthma.
Have you guys ever had to
childbirth.
go get? I was just gonna ask that one. Have you guys ever had to pick up someone and then they give birth on the way?
Yes.
Like do
actually.
deliveries?
Yes, yes. Yes,
Wow.
we've had to do that.
What is that like? I think of everything, right? I am cool with everything else except that one. I'm
Oh, trust me.
terrified
Yeah.
of that one.
Believe me, you're not.
I
you'll
think
be
it's not
surprised.
as bad
Yeah.
as it may look
Is this because you're a mom?
as you see it on television.
Yeah.
No,
Only if there's complications.
Okay.
Yeah.
but it's usually a smooth flow
The body
because
takes
you
care of
can't
itself.
stop a birth.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
It
has to
happens
happen.
irrespective of what it is you're going to do.
But there are other aspects of the job that persons don't take into consideration, and primarily because persons do not build their homes in the event that
Of an
they will take
emergency.
sick.
Oh.
That's true.
So,
That's
so
true.
our part of our job always pans out where we have to move furniture in order to get to the patient,
boy.
or get to the patient, and then we can't get out. So you have to.
So you need a strong back for this job. That's
Yeah.
There
one.
you go. Right. And then you
So
also have
for
to have a
those
strong
for those
stomach.
potential homeowners or future home makers, builders, thinking about how you build an emergency plan within your home.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I'm glad you guys are here today because let's be honest. You guys have not always had like a positive light in society.
That's true.
To this day, sometimes when the people see the
Uh-huh.
ambulance rushing, be like, they're going for KFC or they're going for somebody,
Mm.
right?
Not nice. Not
I'm telling you what's out there. So I'm glad you guys are here to shed some light because I do think that you guys are taken for granted a lot of the times.
I agree.
Right? Even now, the ambulance is speeding down the road. Everybody that can drive or has a license knows what you're supposed to do. Pull to the side, let the ambulance get through. Oh,
Speaking
my
about that, one
goodness.
time I saw a busman actually follow. He was behind. He allowed the ambulance
that's a
to-
lot.
and he followed the ambulance.
As
and
if
I'm
he's
like,
part of the
yes.
procession.
I
So
don't
he could
think
get
it's
the-
actually following in terms of, well, he's following, but
Yeah.
the siren clears the way for him to pass.
Exactly.
As well.
Exactly.
So he
Exactly.
used that. I was like, wow, look at this.
I've had situations where I've had motorcyclists rise their vehicles, their motorbikes.
What?
On the
in
side
front
of it.
the ambulance.
In front.
Or to the side.
That's probably not. It sounds crazy, but given how we have the cyclists here, they do a lot of crazy things.
Yes.
I'm not surprised.
One evening on an emergency, a pickup decided to not allow me to pass.
You see,
Wow.
this is the
Decided
madness
to.
that we have to deal with. And that person in there
Seriously?
is in need of urgent medical attention.
But it always falls back to when it's their family member.
Exactly.
And then when they're sitting next to the driver, then they start cursing and then they're fussing because they're now
These
seeing
are
that
some of
their
the
family
same
member
people that were
needs.
probably
So
guilty.
it becomes
Yeah.
like, it's urgent now. And I'm like,
My, how the tables have turned.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
your week of activities
Yes.
begin when and what does it entail?
the week of activities is actually an annual celebration that happens for EMS internationally. So
Oh,
we're
wow.
actually celebrating it this year. I mean, COVID was disruptive. We weren't able to do that, but for this year, it's actually starting from the 21st to the 28th of this month. We've done some preparations, but because of a short time span, we weren't able to do everything that we wanted to do. But segue to December is when EMS actually started on St. Kitts.
Oh, wow.
So we're going to do a small celebration for that time as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it starts in like next week.
Next week Sunday. Well, this Sunday
From
coming.
This Sunday.
And the public is invited to
We
the
have a
event?
church service this Sunday coming at the Reformation Fellowship Church at Taylor's. And then on Monday we have a live television program starting at 8 p.m. It's a call-in program as well too.
It's Monday 22nd. Yeah.
Monday 22nd.
Yeah.
Tuesday 23rd, we're actually going to be visiting primary schools. We're trying to branch out to all 3 districts within St. Kitts.
Wow.
So the EMS teams are going to be visiting particular schools, primary schools. And we're going to try and rotate the schools every year so that we have a presence at each school, because we do visit the schools periodically. But for this period, we want to just have the students come in, see some of the equipment that we use, ask questions, and try to give them some small tips that they can use, because there are students that have asthma but don't walk with their pump or forget their pump and all that kind of stuff. Summer is coming up, it's going to be dry, and these are some of the triggers that we have to take into consideration as well. So that's some of the things that we're going to be doing for that.
Nice.
That also ties into Thursday the 25th, which is the day that we go to the secondary schools, and we'll be doing the same to 3 secondary schools on the island. But on Wednesday 24th, we're going to have a Save a Life Day at the square.
What is Save a Life Day?
It sounds like a demonstration.
Yes,
Yes.
it is a demonstration. It's actually an exhibition that we're looking to engage the general public on, to have them come in, ask questions, get vital signs checks, which is their sugar, their pressure, and also to teach them some CPR, teach them how to stop bleeds temporarily until when they get to hospital care, and some of the things that they should not do in the event someone gets stabbed or chopped with a machete or something like that. And as I said, with summer coming up, the beach is going to be very active, school is going to be out, and we do get calls for drownings and stuff like that. So we want to make sure that at least the general public is aware of certain things. So that's something that we're doing on Wednesday, the 25th, Wednesday the 24th at the square on the opposite side of National Bank. Right. On Friday the 26th, we're going to have a mini motorcade, nothing large, going through the streets of Bastille.
Well, if you put on your sirens, I don't know how many it's going to be.
They're gonna move.
You know y'all attract people already.
Yeah, it's going to move. And then we're going to take a little sabbatical rest day on Saturday, the 27th, and then we have an appreciation dinner that we've planned for the staff and family members.
How many
for the
persons
Sunday.
are on staff? How many
about
EMTs
45.
are at what?
That's not even.
And this is just in
That's
St. Kitts,
small.
right? Like 45 in
Yes,
St. Kitts.
yes, that's small
Wow.
compared to what the job
Actually needs, right?
Yes.
So,
my
question I
goodness.
always wondered: what's the difference
Because
between a
if you
power?
look at
Okay,
the-
go ahead.
The
No, go
places
ahead,
that
sorry.
we have the homes and the stairwells and
I have a
You
deadly
understand.
fear of stairs, so yes, yes,
There you go.
definitely.
right. So
Okay.
yeah, I think we're a little bit understaffed, but that's how it is.
So, folks, don't forget the emergency medical service. They're having their week.
But
of
for that week,
activities.
for next week, the theme for this year is actually where emergency care begins, because we're actually pre-hospital care. So we operate on the outside until when you get to the hospital, and then the doctors and nurses take over from there as a continuation with your treatment.
How do you retain all this stuff? Like every time you go on a scene, I know they prep you before you go. Like, okay, we have an asthma victim, or we have a drowning victim. But it's just remembering. Does it become like a routine after a while? Because like,
Some things do surprise you, because a lot of times persons don't actually say what is wrong with them.
hi,
So some things do get fabricated, and then when you actually do the vital signs, then a lot of things then show up, and you're like, "Are you sure?"
oh my goodness.
And then you then have, that's where your diagnosis comes in beforehand. So because you still have to report back to the hospital so that they
Exactly.
treat it properly.
And they prepare.
Yes.
Good grief. Okay, so what has been like your craziest call? You first.
Oh,
What has
wow.
been like your craziest scenario?
Craziest scenario.
Or scariest? She's like, oh my God, where
I'm
do I
trying to
begin?
Yes.
You want
You
to go
see,
first?
there's a lot of calls that
I'll tell
maybe
you.
too
Scary to speak about. The one where I saw the tourist when she lost like the lower part of her leg, right? I can't stop watching, but I'm screaming as I'm watching, right?
Okay.
Like, oh my God, what? Oh my God. So for me, like that would be like, with the other part of she foot gone.
right there, and then you have to
Yeah.
you have to act. You have
Yeah,
to do everything necessary.
I'm just gonna
and
stick
I
to
think
papers.
that's where a lot of persons tend to don't understand our mindsets, right?
Because you got to still focus
Yes,
while people screaming and
and you have to keep the person as calm as possible,
Yes.
right? And that's where the training helps. It does help, but you also have to have a sound mind when it comes to that, so that you're not panicking.
so you're younger in the field because Anelda racking back some years, right? So she like which
Yeah.
one, which one?
But in terms of, it's not scary, but shocking.
Right.
Yeah. When there's live entities coming out of individuals.
I knew it.
It's
See,
more of a
you're on the
shocking
same
as
team as
opposed-
I am.
What do you mean?
That's
What do you
As
mean?
opposed to,
Childbirth.
but
yeah. See, yeah,
But,
I'm
yes,
with you.
It happens like that, and sometimes it's also having to deal with the elderly, and it touches you the deepest, because you want to make sure that families are taking care of their elderly, and you know.
Okay, I want to sneak in a question before. We have 3 minutes until 9. Yeah. What's the difference between a paramedic?
Physically, it's a tough job.
I don't think he's hearing you. What's the difference between a paramedic and
you're not hearing me. I was wondering.
EMT. Well, the difference is the level of training, and also when it comes to medications.
Oh.
For us, we would like to give medications because it actually takes some of the pressure off of the patient. It's no fun taking up someone that has a femoral break or that big bone break, and you have to then straighten it out without giving them just a little thing to kind of take off the edge off of it, and that's where it becomes a little bit problematic.
Okay.
Right, but we're hoping to get there.
Hearing me now?
Yes.
Yeah,
So that
okay,
we
good.
can make it easier on the patients, because we feel for every patient that we encounter. Even when we have a death to deal with, we take it home because we start replaying in our heads.
And then you got to detox for that and be prepared for the next day. Whew.
Yeah.
Don't think I forgot you. Let's hear. She thought she escaped.
Yes, I did that. I guess over the years, it becomes a lot easier having to deal with certain cases that you have to go on. The first call I responded to was actually an accident.
Wow.
The person didn't actually make it. However, from the scene, when you would have arrived, what you saw would have deterred, I think, anybody just starting out,
Of course,
Yes.
of course.
Yes.
Oh my
So,
goodness. But you're kind of like a veteran now, so.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, you have things that still, like he said, you
It
see,
shocks you. It does shock you, but
it gives you a little shock, yes, but
Yeah.
you still have to remain calm, focused, because you still have to render care.
Right. Wow.
What do you think the reason? What do you think the reason is that that most of the EMTs are females and not males? What do you think is going on there? Is it's a money thing or an empathy thing?
Well,
or
first
what is
of
it?
all, females outnumber males. Here, sir.
No. This is nothing to get offended about.
No. I think it's more of the fact that it's interest, I think, and awareness, because it's similar to like with nursing.
With nursing, yes.
With nursing.
It's
Right.
interest and
People
because-
feel like
Good
men
point.
can't be nurses. So hopefully
Right,
we can
and-
break that stigma.
Yes, and it is something that I think can change, because I've always wanted to be in this. I actually wanted to transfer from police
That's a good
to
thing.
do it.
Yeah.
So, but it didn't happen back then. But
Hopefully
either
with
way,
this week of activities that's coming up, you guys are going to sensitize the public more.
Right.
So we'll have more persons being interested, and hopefully you guys can do like a drive or something, and hand out applications so they could fulfill the empty slots.
Yes.
Because 45 is not enough.
Yes.
Wow.
So, guys, we're going to conclude this segment, because we have, our
Weekly dose.
Weekly dose.
So it's today's medical day.
Yes.
yes.
Well, we want to thank you guys for popping in today and sharing with us. The list of activities is actually going to be on Community Diary. So for those of you who are interested or who might have missed some of the activities that are coming up next week, you can always stay tuned to Community Diary. And we will see you guys next week. I'm definitely popping by in the square to see you guys in action.
Perfect.
Have a good week, guys.
All right.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No
Okay,
problem.
it's 9:01. We've got Weekly Dose with Dr. Natalie Osborne coming up next.
Found the sound 98.9 FM.
So who you left the kids with tonight?
Nobody. They're big enough to take care of themselves.
Girl, you mad? Junior only 7 years old. And suppose something happened to the baby while you're out here?
My mother was leaving me home by myself since I'm 5. He can handle it. Nothing gonna happen.
This don't feel right. Call and check on them.
Look, I work hard all week. I deserve this break. Besides, they're good. Hello?
Leaving underage children at home by themselves is child neglect. Need support? See if another family member or a trusted neighbor can help. This message brought to you by UNICEF, UKAID, Crime Stoppers, and this station.
This is your boy, Super Handy Andy, with your Super Handy Andy deals at Horsehouse Building Center for the month of May. Picture filter was $102.59. Get it now for $87.20. Medium dog kennel was $258.58. Now only $219.80. Handheld showerhead 3-piece set was $121.88. Now just $103.59. 1 gallon Premier plastic roof cement was $70.20. Now only $59.67. Glass shelf kit was $164.21. Get it now for $139.57. Super handy Andy deals at Horsford's Building Center for the month of May, making home improvement easy.
Switch for a better mortgage with Bond. Come and visit us today and let's discuss your future. The Bank of Nevis Limited is encouraging all customers to come to the bank that cares. Switch for an attractive low interest rate, 100% financing. Yes, you heard correct. Additionally, up to 30 years repayment available. Commitment fee waived. Legal fee waived. And any additional fees can be included within the loan. That's right. We are providing solutions at Bond Strong. Switching has never been this easy. The Bank of Nevis Limited, improving the quality of life. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. Special terms and conditions apply. Offer ends July 30th, 2023.
You can put 100 grand on it. Anything I said, I stand on it.
And man, we've turned into medical university this morning. Huh?
Nice.
We've got weekly dose begins now. 4 minutes after 9 o'clock. Dr. Natalie Osborne is in the hot seat.
Definitely. Good morning, Doc. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm doing excellent.
I can tell.
Well, happy Tuesday.
Yeah, it's awesome. And we apologize. The cameras aren't working today. So we have to make sure.
I wore on my green
I
outfit.
know, and she's looking spicy over here.
It's a radio and social media network.
She looks nice. Let me describe to you guys.
Yes.
So
Well,
while I have the two male hosts in my ear,
persons on the social media asking for the cameras. So yes, the cameras are down right now.
Thank you. Can you guys stop? Thank you.
Yes.
Yes. So today the topic is hemorrhoids.
Yes.
So we will let the doc take the reins. What are hemorrhoids?
Hey, so well, you seem to be quite excited about hemorrhoids, but it's nothing to be ashamed of, and it is a very common pathology. Sometimes more than 50% of persons do suffer or are affected with hemorrhoids. Oftentimes, yes, persons are embarrassed to speak of this area because the hemorrhoids, what are the hemorrhoids? They're swollen, enlarged veins that form either inside or just outside of the anus. And we know that the anus is that area where the poop or the stool comes out, okay? Sometimes people call them piles as well too. So what they are, essentially, they're vessels or veins that are covered by the mucous membrane of the end or the latter part of the colon, that is called like the anus. And sometimes they get inflamed, swollen, and you can think of them also like varicose veins. Some of us would have seen persons with varicosity or varicose veins of the leg. So it's just like swollen, dilated veins. So instead of being on the legs, they're in the anus region.
Wow. So, I grew up hearing my grandmother always telling, like, don't sit on the concrete, you're going to get pile. And I never understood what piles were until, like, a couple years back. I was like, wait, that's what she was referring to? Hemorrhoids.
Yes. So commonly some persons could refer to them as pile.
Yes, yes. And how common is it? I know you started off saying it's very common, but how common?
Yes, sometimes there's literature that speaks to over 50% of persons do have hemorrhoids, and it is stated that approximately 1 in 20 Americans have symptomatic hemorrhoids. Some people can even have hemorrhoids and do not have any symptoms at all. It affects all ages, sexes, race, and ethnicity. Sometimes there's certain disease that we say is more predominant in one race versus the other, but it affects persons almost equally. And it is also stated that it affects more than half of the individuals above the age of 50.
Wow. So what are some of the common causes of hemorrhoids?
So if you run into anyone who's over 50, almost 50% of them may have had hemorrhoids. It is very common, so it's nothing to be embarrassed.
So I mean, if I'm looking on the streets, I'm thinking, oh gosh, if this person...
Oh, Lord.
50% chance.
You better stop carding persons.
So you asked me an excellent question. What causes hemorrhoids? Anything that creates strain or put pressures on the veins in the anus down there that can cause hemorrhoids. All right? And we said that we can think of them like varicose veins, okay? So any sort of straining that increases pressure on your belly or your lower part of your tummy and your lower extremity can cause the hemorrhoids to become swollen and inflamed. How do they develop? If you have increased pressure with obesity, there go yet again obesity, especially if you're pregnant, and if you push hard oftentimes when you're defecating. So if you're constipated chronically, you can have that problem because you're forcing down. And anytime you increase the pressure in your lower tummy, you can increase that swelling and dilatation of the veins and cause this inflammation there. And if you're lifting heavy object as well too, and heavy weight lifting, so that increase the pressure. Yes, and that could also create or worsen your hemorrhoidal tissue.
What?
Yep.
You better cut back on some of those weights in the gym.
No, I'm thinking about those persons who lift more than they can.
That's the thing. When you lift too much more than you can, or you do not do your weightlifting in stages where you increase your power and your body strength.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. I'm glad you listed these because for some reason there was a misconception. Well, I guess it was just with me when you're giving birth, because you're pushing, and they keep saying push. So I thought like most of it occurred during pregnancy or giving birth.
During the pregnancy, yes, you can develop hemorrhoids or worsen your already existing hemorrhoid, because what is happening, that fetus or that baby that is going inside your tummy is pressing on all your organs and your blood vessels and the veins. So what happens, they're pressing on the veins become engorged, the venous return that's supposed to go back to the heart, it becomes a problem because it's struggling now against this compression there, and the blood can stay there and pool there and settle there, causing dilatation or swelling of these blood vessels. Yes, so it happens quite often in pregnant women.
Wow. So who are some of the persons other than pregnant women we just
those
other than persons overweight, because we talk about obesity.
Obesity is a part of almost everything that we speak of.
Guys, eat well and keep fit.
Yes. I know. So persons who also have a low fiber diet. Remember, fiber helps to move the bowel along, the bowel motion. It's like having a broom. Think of it always like that. You're having a broom, and you're sweeping the colon. Right. So when you have a high fiber diet, your fresh fruits and vegetables. If you eat all these diet that is rich in a lot of carbs and fats, it's like using a mop to sweep and it doesn't do the work effectively. So then stuff get built up and then you're constipated and you have to strain. Even chronic diarrhea as well too. So either extreme can create this problem of having hemorrhoids. Heavy weight lifting, we said that. And sometimes if you're constipated, you spend a lot of time in that position, sitting on the toilet, and you're forcing, all right, when you're straining to have a bowel motion. Those are the things that influence or increase your chances of developing hemorrhoids. We said those who are obese, those who are pregnant, those who have a poor diet that is low in healthy fibers, and those who are chronically constipated or have chronic diarrhea and who heavy weight lift.
So spending a lot of time sitting on the toilet. I remember there was
well,
this thing
usually
that came
if
out
you're
saying,
sitting on the toilet, I would think that it's because you're having difficulty going off.
not sitting there reading or scrolling your phone or something.
Candy, are you saying that's what you do?
No, I actually know there was a survey that's saying that you
I'm
shouldn't
just
read
teasing.
when you go there.
You should what?
You shouldn't read. People love to put reading material in the bathroom. Just go into your business and leave.
No, but if you are having a healthy bowel motion, you don't have time to read. It should come out quite naturally and quite quickly.
And just go, right?
Yes, so you should just be there 2 or 3 minutes and you have a complete bowel motion. One of the days we're going to discuss the different consistency of stool, because your stool should come out like a nice S shape and really together instead of coming out drop by bit by bit what we used to call sheep eggs. So you should not be on the toilet long enough to be able to read anything. It's about doing that business, getting in and getting out.
Yes.
I'm here thinking we're talking about the S.
Oh my goodness. Right. So there are different types of hemorrhoids, right?
Yes.
Because of course. So tell us what are the different types?
Okay, your hemorrhoids can be classified as such. Most of the time, they're either internal. There's a specific area in the anus there that's called the dentate line. That is just a little bit inside, more into the rectum there. And why is it there's a differentiation? Because the tissue is a little bit different. Okay, so above that area, those are called internal hemorrhoids. Below that area, they're called external hemorrhoids. So you have two main types of hemorrhoids, internal hemorrhoids or external hemorrhoids, okay? And based on the classification, you could have some different symptoms. And these hemorrhoids, if they go on to become complicated, you can have a prolapse of the hemorrhoids, giving you lots of pain and other symptoms that we're going to talk about. Yeah. So the internal hemorrhoids tend to, the swollen veins are inside your rectum, okay? And they can push out or bleed sometimes and become prolapse. The external ones are more on the outside. They're covered by the skin there. Sometimes you feel that bulge. They can become engorged with blood. And become what we call thrombosed, and they can get extremely painful.
Oh my goodness. This is intense.
So we're talking about hemorrhoids, we're talking about prolapse hemorrhoids, we're talking about, the external.
Yes.
Now, a lot of us like to diagnose.
Of course.
Especially ourselves.
Yeah.
So could you tell us how are they diagnosed?
What are the symptoms?
Yeah, like some of the symptoms that we talk. One of the common symptoms of having hemorrhoids is when you go to the toilet after you've defecated and you wipe, oftentimes you may see some blood on your paper. Okay, on the toilet paper, and that may alarm some persons. Okay, because what happens when the stool passes, it irritates these blood vessels that are already dilated, and there's a little break in the skin, and you have some bleeding. So oftentimes you can have asymptomatic bleeding. So there's a little bleeding when you defecate. Okay, then sometimes if it prolapses out, those are the internal ones, they can become excruciatingly painful. All right. You can also have things like itching of the anus. Sometimes you find that your anus is a little bit itchy down there. You may feel a lump by your anus because oftentimes persons come to the office And one of the things that ways of knowing that they have a problem and they're embarrassed to start talking about the hemorrhoids, you ask them to have a seat and they refuse to sit. Or say, Doc, I'm okay, I don't want to sit. And you're like, okay, so talk to me, what's going on? And they start telling you about something else and then the head and different things before they get to the part of speaking about the hemorrhoids. So they're having rectal bleed, they're having pain, they're having itching and ache, so they're uncomfortable seated. Or you'll see that they sit on the side of the chair. So an astute physician needs to be observing their patient as well, not only for what they say or what they're not saying. Because oftentimes the real reason for the office visit comes after they tell you about all the other distracting things.
You don't think that they're sitting on the side of the chair because of the itch? I'm joking. I'm joking.
I'm trying to figure out, like, why is it such a weird topic? Is it because of the location?
Yes. Anything talking about your private parts, we know we were taught in school, never mention those areas. We're always embarrassed. It's a very uncomfortable thing. But it is extremely common, but persons are extremely embarrassed to mention it. So then, as we said, they speak about everything. I would think men
more than women.
I mean, how many persons speak about their poo,
Yeah, that's not a conversation.
I think like one of the first shows we had, I must have said, look back, like check it before. I think was it the colon?
Yes.
When I got to office, my staff was like, I can't believe you said that on air. I'm like, what? You gotta look at it. But guys, yes, please pay attention.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So
let's look at the treatment.
Well, how do you diagnose them?
Yeah.
Because after you see them doing all these weird things in your waiting room, and they come in now. So how do you?
Okay, usually it's a clinical diagnosis. You speak to the patient, they tell you of the symptoms, the itching, usually it's bleeding, and they'll tell you, Doc, I feel like a little bulge down there. Sometimes a patient would say, after I stool, there's a bulge there, and sometimes I have to use my finger and push it back in place. And that is already immediately telling me this is a hemorrhoid, and it has prolapsed or came out, and the patient would tell you, Doc, I have to push it back up. Or sometimes the person will say, when I stool, this flesh comes down, and after I'm done, it goes back up on itself. So it reduces spontaneously. All of those are different things that patient would tell you. And then you go and examine the anus area. You try and make sure that your patient is comfortable, reassure them. And you look, oftentimes you can see the prolapsed tissue there, okay? And then you can put a glove finger with gel to make it comfortable for the patient, and you can insert the finger if you're not seeing anything externally.
I'm sure most of your patients are females.
You remember I just said that? Yeah, I literally, because men are just weird.
But they do come, but that is because they're in excruciating pain. So by the time,
so they wait last minute.
Yes, by the time the males do show up, because it's a must, they're like, oh, this is unbearable
they can't
now.
Go any longer.
Yes, so so you do your digital exam, and there is something called something that is called anoscopy, almost like taking like a metal tube with a camera on it, and you can just put it into the rectum, and you're looking to see through it like almost like a tube, a rigid tube, and it's almost like a camera. Okay, like when you're doing a scope, and it's just to show you there internally, just to see if there's any dilatation of the blood vessels and the veins there.
Be comfortable.
Yeah, it's not. It is a bit uncomfortable, but it's not painful, and you do it in the doctor's office just to help confirm if you're still unsure.
I mean, Dr. Natalie Osborne is making this whole situation seems so delightful and calm.
Listen, the two of us over here like, what?
I think that is just my energy and my person.
If you look at her face,
if she could take a picture of the two of us faces, right? Like, oh my God.
She's like, yes, this is it.
It's regular, it's cool.
Yes.
Gosh.
You're trying to make light and encouraging persons that health matters, and that even though you have these problems, you're not alone, one. And these can have, we can have solution to these problems, but persons are embarrassed to come in.
But okay, so you have the hemorrhoids. How do you treat them?
All right. A lot of times, if they're smaller hemorrhoids, they can go away on their own. Okay. Sometimes you may not have a problem, like the bleeding and stuff. It may last for a week or two, especially if you would have experienced a bout of constipation. All right. So you want to use. There's some creams that we can recommend, or what we call like suppositories, almost like little pills to insert into the rectum. Those contain like pain medication and steroids, hydrocortisone cream to help to decrease the swelling and the inflammation. So you can use that. So the person have those as outpatients. They can do that at home. You may give some over-the-counter pain medication like some ibuprofen or Motrin or Advil, those things that we can use. And you want to encourage a person to soften their stool. You may recommend that they have a high fiber diet. You can also give them some kind of fiber supplement like some Metamucil powder, stuff like that to help soften the stool. You want to encourage them to increase their water intake because water helps to make the stool soft. As the stool goes to the colon, it is reabsorbing the water that the body needs. So if you're dehydrated, you're not consuming enough water, it's going to take as much water from the poo to use into the circulation. So increase your water intake so that your stool is soft and nice.
Do you want to take a call?
Yes, if we have a caller, we can take a call.
Okay, caller, go right ahead. It's a weekly dose.
Good morning, patients, and good morning, doctor.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you? Culture.
I'm trying to get in the laugh. I'm enjoying the program.
Good. That's good.
Yes.
Now, Doc, let me ask you a question. When I was a little boy, it had a man on the sugar estate used to have me looking food for his cattle every afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
And he tell me he gonna give me a sheep egg for my Christmas. So, I was every day I working hard and make sure that I consistent with his animal food because I want a sheep egg. But now this morning, I mean, his wife tell him, why you don't stop fooling the child? What sheep egg shaped the egg?
Exactly.
And then now this morning, you break it down.
Yes. Daddy, my father would tell us that as well too when we were younger. He's going to give us a sheep egg, but soon enough we learned what that meant.
Wow.
All righty, thanks for your comment.
One of the things what really causes people to have sheep eggs is lack of fluid.
Yes.
And the intake. And the quickest thing to dissolve sheep egg into water is milk. You cannot be constipated once you drink milk.
Okay.
Because from the moment milk passes throat go down, you know you're heading for the little room out in the yard, up in the corner.
Okay.
Azad wouldn't know about that. He just banned.
Because I'm glad too, because I'm thinking, I'm glad culture I just born because still in the 30s, because I was thinking, okay, then I'm a bit away from the 50s, you know?
Yeah.
That's good.
It doesn't discriminate.
And Doc, again, another thing which I experienced from a little boy, what really causes people to be constipated quickly, when we eat green guava and swallow the seed, they harden up your excretion. And when those guava bind you, let me use our local term, when they bind you, look, you have to do breathing exercise to get out that, you know.
Okay.
Because sometimes you're trying to get him out, and he's so hard and tough and resistible.
Yes. Anyway, culture.
We're
going to continue, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, because he has some more interesting facts to give.
Alrighty, thanks for calling in. So good. Right. So he made some comments about being constipated and having make sure you're drinking enough water and stuff. Yeah. So also we spoke about you want to soften the stool. We said you can get your fiber. Sometimes we have these fiber powder like a Metamucil and that you can mix in your water, your juice to increase your fiber intake. That will make your stool softer because you want the stool to be as soft as possible. And sometimes, we also said you have pain medication, and we would encourage you to do what we call sitz baths, where you get a warm basin with warm water, and you can sit in it so that what happens, help the hemorrhoidal tissue to relax and stuff. Yeah.
Okay, then.
Ensure that your muscles in that area relaxes, and sometimes the hemorrhoids can go right back up if they're prolapsed out. Yeah.
Wow.
And you want to avoid using that rough paper once you're having hemorrhoid problem. So we encourage you that you have now the wipes. You know, those wipes. You remember as a baby, we wipe the baby's bottom. No, as adults, we realize how beneficial those are instead of using the hard toilet paper. So you want to be gentle in that area. Oftentimes, we said after your stool as well, you can have a shower.
You know, you're talking about the wipes. I was just in the pharmacy maybe a couple
Yeah.
days ago, and I see these wipes, you know, and they're saying, you know, it's probably soft and it probably makes the area cleaner.
Exactly.
Yes,
yeah.
yes, yes, yes.
I know
yes.
you're talking about the
Yes,
wipes.
And they have the flushable ones.
Yeah, and you would never wipe the baby's bum, see, with that hard
Something
paper.
harsh,
Yeah,
right.
yes. So you're wiping
As
away.
you're talking about that, I'm thinking about the different types of toilet paper, because some toilet paper are soft than others.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
And where possible, and if you have that discipline in your bowel habit, you tend to want to do it just before you go in the shower, so you get yourself nice and clean.
Exactly, exactly. So what are some of the other ways that we can treat them?
Well, those are no more outpatient, like you can do at home. So we have some stuff as doctors, as surgeons, and so we can do. There's something that's called a rubber band ligation. It is extremely painful, where you get the hemorrhoidal tissue and you put a band around it. So you're basically cutting off the blood supply, and eventually the hemorrhoid tissue becomes necrosed, it dies,
Right,
and
it
it
dies.
falls off. But that, it is very, very uncomfortable.
So where is this tissue located?
In the
Same place
anus.
where the
with-
hemorrhoid
yes,
is.
yeah.
So you put a string around it?
Almost
A
like you
rubber
put a
band.
band around it. Yes, just to tighten it around. Cut off the blood supply. Remember we said that there's the
Right.
vein is dilated.
This is external.
Yeah, no, oftentimes when you're doing the internal, and it is excruciatingly
Ah.
painful.
It
for them to
sounds
do.
that
That's
way.
not what you really. And then you can use what we call electrocautery, like electricity, and you buzz it and you stop the blood flow to the hemorrhoidal tissue. There are other things like you can insert a
I'm gonna
small
pray for this
probe. And you use infrared coagulation to try and heat to get rid of the hemorrhoids. And there's also some medication you can inject a chemical into the hemorrhoidal tissue to destroy them as well too.
Wow.
Yeah, and then you have the well-known that most people would know, hemorrhoidectomy, where you're taken to the operating room and you excise or remove the hemorrhoid tissue. Yes, because some persons can have very large or very dilated hemorrhoidal tissue, and you will have to remove those surgically.
So that one is, oh, good grief. So that one now you have to put them out from themselves.
Yes, yeah, you will have to put the patient to sleep, position the patient adequately, excise or removed or cut off the hemorrhoid tissue, repair that, and of course that person is hospitalized for a couple of days because it can be very painful
What
to stop.
happens if they want to use the bathroom?
Yeah, those first initial stool, they can be extremely painful.
Okay,
Guys,
we'll
let's try and prevent these
Yeah,
hemorrhoids.
let's
in
talk
here.
about the prevention. Because prevention sounds
Better than cure.
better than cure.
Oh, that is good. But what I want you to know, hemorrhoids become more frequent or more common as you get older. Remember we said
Yeah,
once you're
remember
above
over
50.
50.
Over 50. Okay, so you don't want to push too hard or force when you're on the toilet. So go to the toilet when the urge hits you. This is important. Oftentimes, we may be in a position where we can't and we're embarrassed. You are out, you're at a cocktail event, you're even right here. You need to go to the bathroom. You say, I've got to wait until the show is over.
So
I've got to
you're
wait
saying
until go
if you
as soon.
feel that you need to go, you
Just
go.
go.
You've got to go. That's the
Okay.
best time, because what happens if the stool is allowed to sit there in the rectum, in the colon, more water is absorbed and it becomes harder and drier
Just a
over
bit of
time.
humor. You could imagine someone giving a speech and saying, guys, I have to go.
You want to drink lots of water, as we said earlier,
Yes.
throughout the day. Eat more food that is rich in fiber. Your fruits, your vegetables, your leafy greens, and all those good stuff. You need those whole grains, all right? And if you can't get enough of that, that's when you take the fiber supplements that we spoke about.
Right.
Stay physically active. Being on the move keeps the bowel active. I want you to know also, persons who are bedridden, sometimes we have our elderly persons in the society, they tend to become more constipated. Why? Because they're bedridden, they're in bed. Activity helps your bowel keeps moving. Okay, so you want to ensure that you have your activity, physical exercise, and oftentimes once you have that rhythm and you get up in the morning, you know, immediately you go to the washroom and you you defecate. So some persons, if you have difficulty, you may take some laxative, but you don't want to abuse laxative. So I
Right.
don't want any one of us to take too many laxative because it can create a problem later on. Yeah. But those are the common things. You want to prevent it, keep active, your diet, lots of water, and go to the toilet when you're needed. That is why I would encourage most persons to create that habit of going first thing in the morning. Why? Because after you're done and you go about your day, you're not embarrassed to have to stop somewhere randomly in a public setting and use the bathroom. Oftentimes
Right.
we're embarrassed to do that.
It
So I don't know
makes perfect sense.
anyone have any questions for us.
This has been a very informative topic.
Yes, if we have questions, we are quite ready to
And
take
Jam
any
say if you have to use the bathroom, you can go
Leave
ahead.
that man alone.
Okay,
We lost the call?
yeah, we lost that call. Okay, so let's wrap up. It's 9:31. Go ahead. I give you the last word.
We lost the call.
Oh, we lost the call.
Yeah.
All right, so essentially, as we said, healthy living always, or most times, you see how it is tied into all of the diagnosis and the conditions that we've been talking about throughout these last several months here. So you realize how being active, eating healthy, drinking lots of water, all right?
Yeah, beneficial.
It's beneficial. It prevents a lot of things. And we always say that obesity plays a role in almost most of these pathology. And here again, with
Yes.
hemorrhoids, if you're obese, you tend, because what? Most likely you're obese, your diet is not rich in fiber, rich in fruits and vegetables.
And you're not moving.
Yeah, and you're not moving.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Makes
So I'm
perfect
always
sense.
happy to share the knowledge that I have with the community out there. So thanks for always supporting
No
the
problem.
show. And thanks for the listening audience
Yes,
as well.
I'm
too.
sure they had a very good dose.
Let me tell you. Thank you so much for educating us,
Okay.
Dr. Osborne. Have an
Yes.
awesome day today.
Okay, bye-bye.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
Fruta, taste the real Fruta, enjoy the real Fruta, refreshing juice of every day. Whoa, Fruta, drink the real Fruta, your favorite real Fruta, the natural taste is Fruta. Fruta.
Your favorite fruit has got a new skin with real juice within. Drink the real Fruta. Enjoy the real joy.
Taste the real Fruta, enjoy the real Fruta, refreshing juice of every day is Fruta.
Fruta, juiced right.
Magnum new label charge up, and it means that the vibes look just like you.
A your name a call up. Can't you see that the hot gal just passed you?
Selector just pile up, can't you see that the new look just make news?
As I step forward, no. What you gonna do? Magnum tonic wine. Brand new look.
Damn good wine.
Must be 18 or older to drink. Drink responsibly. Magnum.
9:36, and we're back. And so we just finished our medical block. Oh, and I should let the listeners know we're gonna have the ENTs back next week, same time, and they're just gonna do Q&A.
Oh, nice.
So next week, the actual week of activities. That's good. So because we did, like I was telling you guys, we did have a lot of calls at the time, but I figured they wanted to talk about their week of activities, and you guys asked them questions, and then so next week now we can just have Q&A and ask them more questions. You know.
So we have someone on the social media saying very educational. We had our medical talk just a while ago, and the individual also says oatmeal is also recommended to help alleviate constipation.
Oh,
Yeah,
oatmeal.
well, any
Fibery type of
any whole
thing.
grain. So oat bran especially is good. Yeah.
So make sure, guys, you are eating your greens, your fiber. You know, if you can munch them down, you can make them into your smoothie. You understand?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, but remember too, you have soluble fiber and you have insoluble fiber. So you do need some of that roughage that you get from the cereals
Fruits and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. Yes.
We've had a medical morning.
Yes. And so you know,
hopefully persons were actually taking notes. So.
Yeah, very interesting topic, you know. Seems very painful as well for those persons who have experienced it before.
Yeah, the treatment sounds more painful than the actually getting it.
So, you know, they're looking at the preventative tips.
Exactly.
You know? Okay, this, that, okay. But, you know, as we age, we are more prone to different diseases and different conditions. So we have to make sure that we try to do the best we can in terms of keeping fit, exercising, eating right. You are what you eat.
This is
you
true.
know?
This is
Talking
true.
about food.
You're hungry?
You are what you eat. No, I'm thinking. Yesterday we had a conversation. And today we are presented with no food.
Oh my goodness. They both came empty-handed, Jamster and Blue.
Yes.
I have to do something about this.
Yes. But
wow.
But different to but one thing about Blue, he did have something to eat yesterday. We saw something from his kitchen.
I'm so glad he cannot hear you.
We are yet to see from the Jamster's kitchen what
he's gonna bring.
Yeah, Candy. We might be not here on the show anymore, and then he brings something.
No, somebody will let us know. Somebody will definitely let us know. But I can't wait to see his wife to ask her. Well, it was extremely hot this morning. Thank heavens I've cooled down now. I don't know if it was my coffee or just, getting here, because it was actually cooler outside today, a sign that the season is changing.
So, guys,
back to the news.
Yeah, we're looking at some stories just to make sure we have some discussion. And, in St. Vincent, Sandy Bay teen on bicycle dies in road accident. And this guy was just 12 years old. He died in a road accident on Mother's Day. So on Mother's Day, a schoolboy, a mother is mourning after a schoolboy, 12 years old. His name is, it looks like Daisy Lavia. He died in a road accident. The police launched an investigation into the circumstances surrounding the tragic accident that occurred in Orange Hill about 6:50 on May 14th, which left the 12-year-old pedal cyclist dead. According to reports, a motor vehicle that was being driven by a 38-year-old resident struck the teen as it headed towards Sandy Bay.
And you're saying that, and I'm just thinking about the EMTs and, what that was like for them if they arrived on scene in time and all of that. Yeah. And while they were on air, someone actually messaged me and was telling me that they were happy to see that they mentioned not filming accidents. because they had a family member that had an accident on the Bay Road, and somebody was taking a video, and they asked them to stop, and the person was actually upset, cursed them out, tell them that you can't tell me what to do with my phone in a public space, but not thinking about the insensitivity of what they were actually doing.
Wow.
And so that made me remember one of the pleas of the EMTs when they were here. Imagine that mother, she probably sent her son out, and maybe he went riding, maybe he was hanging out with his friends, and then having to see that accident where your son lost his life because someone is circulating the video.
But guys, in Texas, a Texas woman fatally shot by boyfriend after she got an abortion. So a man who didn't want his girlfriend to get an abortion fatally shot her during a confrontation in Dallas parking lot, police said. He was jailed on a murder charge as of Friday. Texas banned abortions after roughly 6 weeks of pregnancy in September 2021, but nearly all abortions have been halted in Texas since the Roe v. Wade was overturned last summer, except in cases of medical emergency. So this is a 26-year-old. Her name was Gabrielle Gonzalez. She was with her boyfriend, 22-year-old.
I was just about to ask their ages.
26 was a female, 22 was a guy. Harold Thompson on Wednesday when he tried to put her in a chokehold, according to an arrest warrant affidavit. She had returned the night before Colorado, where she had gone to get an abortion.
But
it is believed that the suspect was the father of the child, the affidavit said. The suspect did not want her to get an abortion.
You see, this whole situation is just insane to me, because Roe v. Wade had been in existence for so long.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, all of these countries, these states, these red states, are turning back the hand of time and reversing it. And to me, it just comes back again to a situation of control. No, I'm not saying I'm for abortion or, that he was right to do that, and I'm not pro-life or whatever, but I am pro, it's my body.
Yes.
It's my body, and I make that decision. Them turning back the hands of time and, reversing Roe v. Wade is just another way of them to control women. You don't know what the young lady was going through. And then if it's a terminal pregnancy, if it's a child that's going to be born with all these disabilities and they're just going to be suffering, like, are we still going to put the child through that, bring the child into the world only for it to suffer? Could you just leave women and their bodies alone and let them decide what's best for them?
And then it goes to the judicial system in the U.S. It's heavily, people talk about the judicial system here, but it's nothing like the U.S. where they actually,
insane.
It is so heavily influenced sometimes by political interference.
Yes.
Even the selection of the judges,
Yes.
So, and that is something that, at least here in the Caribbean, we have what is the independence of the judiciary, if nothing else, So at least we have that.
A fair amount of it anyways. I remember that whole Brett Kavanaugh situation where he should not have even made it onto the Supreme Court because he had raped more than one person. And he's sitting there. He's one of them that, is like, there were at least 3. Roe v. Wade. Let's tell women what to do with their bodies. Let us make it illegal for them to get rid of an unwanted pregnancy. Yeah, sure, they were raped, but why can't they just carry the child?
Yeah.
Really? This
Very
is
sad.
madness. He shot the girl because she got rid of the baby. So now 3 lives are gone. The baby, the mother, and you, because you're in jail.
Exactly.
22-year-old.
Yeah. Guys, in terms of we're back here with Antigua tourism officials to contact Angela Bassett's legal team. So Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister Gaston Brown said tourism officials acted prematurely when they began using the U.S. actress Angela Bassett's image in promotional campaigns. Bassett and the actress Dawn Lewis were appointed tourism ambassadors recently following a dinner with Brown during their attendance at the Sailing Week. The Black Panther actress legal team wrote to Antigua and Barbuda Tourism Board yesterday asking, and this would have been May 11th,
Mhm.
asking that they immediately stop using Bassett's name and or image in connection with any marketing or promotional efforts. This is until the parties have entered into a standard release agreement that authorizes such use. Speaking with the state broadcaster ABS yesterday, Brown said while Bassett would have agreed to accept the voluntary appointment, tourism officials should have waited until formal arrangements were agreed to by the parties. And he goes on to say this.
This is Brown saying this.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would have had a dinner with Angela and she indicated her willingness to serve. I don't think that there's any real issue there other than they may have recognized that there are some potential challenges that could arise if we do not complete the documentation and terms of reference and so on prior to such usage of her intellectual property. He says, I don't even think if she chose to be an ambassador of the country, I don't know that we have the carte blanche right to utilize her images and all her intellectual property. Anyhow, you look at it, I think we acted prematurely. Again, not with the malice, but they should have known better.
Am I supposed to? No, I'm not going to comment.
Yeah.
Who is we that acted prematurely? Who's the we?
And he didn't even say we.
No,
Well, yeah, he said we. Sorry, he said, I think we acted prematurely.
But who's the we? Because he started off saying tourism officials.
First he says we.
But
and
he's the
then
person
he
that
says
appointed them.
They should have known better. He's saying...
Who's they?
I'm in deja vu. Didn't we go over this yesterday?
Yes.
What's your...
Azar just wants to see me laughing because this is crazy.
What's his gripe with Gangston?
When we have Vernon on Thursday.
Listen.
Today's what? Tuesday? We're gonna have to.
Why are you going? Why are you going in on Gaston like this? Not that I mean I'm here for it, but I'm just asking why.
I know.
But we did.
I'm kind of swamped. I'm not ignoring you guys.
Because
guys, I'm doing a lot. I was doing a lot of stuff.
Gaston is the only person that can authorize and elect an ambassador.
Exactly.
So who is they?
Smart man Gaston.
And
Gangston.
Yeah. So guys,
I'm done with this topic.
We're gonna hear what Vernon has to say in relation to this. You know,
you guys need to look for that video with him changing his pants. Pants
Lord.
outside his SUV.
Y'all better stop it because we have politicians here as well.
Gaston can't serious.
But you know, every time I hear his name, I'm reminded of that character from Beauty and the Beast, Gaston.
Gaston.
And the name suits him to a
Gaston.
T. If you know the movie and you know the character, the name suits him to a T.
Can I make a silly confession?
Let's hear.
No, I like to tease my wife, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm cooking, I've had this shtick I've been doing ever since we got married. Where when I'm cooking, I present.
You pretend like you're on
I'm a
television?
chef. No, I'm a chef named Gaston.
Oh God, change that name, please.
I'm a chef named Gaston.
No, sir.
And I talk a lot of nonsense. I usually cracking up. I'm talking a lot of nonsense like
in an accent.
Yeah, like so I say
Gaston. You have to pronounce it properly.
So I will say the olive oil came from my orchard in Provence.
Exactly.
A lot of nonsense.
You talking about food?
I know.
You're cracking up and laughing.
No food.
And yet,
her head.
Jamster, Trevor, whoever he is,
Gaston
has not proven.
My sister and I pretend that we're on a television show and somebody's taping us.
There's Gangston and there's Gaston.
Okay, so which one is the
well,
I'm not the Gangston for sure.
This Gaston has not presented any food.
Exactly.
It's vaporware, actually. For you guys. So I'm playing.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
Pretty fragrant vaporware. It smells really good when it's cooking.
I can't wait to meet your wife. Can you send me her number, please? Thank you.
Next thing she says, Jamster, cook, when?
Who? Don't believe those stories he's telling you.
I think I told you guys already. I went and got some yesterday. I told you guys they had the meatball, the fish balls up at from Fisher's.
Are they any good? Are they
No,
expensive?
I just got them yesterday. No, they're like $12 for 6.
Candy, what you asking him about it?
$12 for 6. And they're pre-seasoned.
Because you know you're not going to see them.
Yeah, I'm never going to ask him.
I'm not bringing any for you guys. You gotta go, well, then he can't cook. So, So I don't know.
Our premier does like
I mean, you can
the
do-
premier in Nevis. Doesn't he do it anymore? I know he used to do something
Yeah.
called Men Can Cook.
He does his I think he hasn't done it in a while, but he
Right.
Oh,
I
really?
think-
Maybe too
yeah.
much
That's
work
on Instagram
now.
or
It's on Facebook. He has too
Facebook?
much
Okay.
work now.
Okay, and he's
Because he used to do this thing called Men Can Cook, and he would like put it on Facebook.
slinging a jinsu and all that. Okay.
Yeah, actually.
I
put up
remember during the
dishes.
COVID time too, he had it.
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe
Yeah.
during COVID he had more time.
Yeah.
Because everything was shut down.
Yeah,
I guess.
And so he used to, I think you used to see the saltfish and the other meals that he cooked, you know.
You know, saltfish always busts my ass, man.
Really? I made
Yeah.
some on Sunday.
I'm not good at saltfish.
Mm.
No.
What would you say is your best dish to make?
Well, I wouldn't say that I'm really proud of soup. I'm proud of a lot of things, but
Yeah.
I like because my yardstick for like your grandparents,
Yeah.
your mother, your aunts, even your uncles, you come up and they're cooking, and when you try to cook that's what you're having. That's your yardstick,
Yeah.
like
Oh,
the
yeah,
soup.
yeah.
So I think I perfected the soup.
The soup?
The
What
grandmother.
specific soup?
No,
Oh, like the
the
old
grandmother / mom / aunt soup.
Like with the provisions and
Yeah, so I think I have
with,
that down
like
cold.
the chicken neck and back and all those weird things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm proud of my soup.
Awesome.
And rice. I'm pretty good at rice.
Like plain rice or
both.
You know, we should have a cookout
Hey,
here.
yeah, we should
we're
actually
gonna have a
and,
potluck.
and see how it goes.
We should actually have.
You really want to sign up for that, Azard?
You know, I will be watching.
Will you bring in the drinks?
I'll be watching those YouTube channels. You know, you can learn anything on YouTube now.
You can be in charge of the wine.
I had a story to share. I saw it on Loop News.
You guys have a call coming. You want to take it?
Let's take the call. Yeah.
Caller, if you're calling to ask me for food, the answer
What?
is no. Caller, go right ahead. Okay.
You see the person hung up. Maybe it was for food.
Hey, oh wow. He's not giving me any food, so
It's definitely
they
was
hung
for
up.
food.
Yeah.
Wow.
They'll probably call back.
Yeah, they probably wanted some pumpkin soup.
Yuck.
Pumpkin soup is so simple and it's so delicious.
It is very delicious.
Yeah.
Candy, you are
It's
missing
really
out.
simple.
I am not.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
No
I thought you
pumpkin,
said
no
you
butternut
like. I
squash.
thought you said
no.
you like. Which one was it? You said
Fritters. I will
Oh,
eat
the
pumpkin
fritters. That's
fritter
it.
any
Okay.
day.
And pumpkin spice
And
coffee.
put pumpkin spice in my coffee or have the coffee, but nothing else. I draw the line at that. And I carve them, like for Halloween, I would carve them and decorate
Oh, you
with
do all
them.
that?
Yeah, but I draw the line.
You need to carve them and have some soup under them.
Who's gonna
Yes.
eat that?
So as that seriously, you can cook?
I could do a little thing.
Okay,
I
so
could do I heard you speak about your mashed breadfruit. I want to let you know that I could do mashed bananas and mashed potatoes.
Well, look at
That's
that.
good.
Yeah.
You should look for that thing I was telling you about, the potato seasoning. Trust
You
me.
still haven't told
It
us what
puts it
store.
But Best Buy.
Okay.
The Badia. It's Badia potato seasoning. It's okay. Let's take a call. Caller, you're on the air. No food. No food. No food for you.
Hey, Carla, what's up?
No food for you, Carla. But go ahead.
Okay, I'm like you. I'm a one potter. I love my soup. I think that's what my mom used to always write them up, the recipes.
Yeah.
But Azad, yes, you can learn a lot from YouTube.
Thank you. Thank you.
I've been trying to call in from Candice. It's very hot on the outside. I just came from the beach. It was quite cooling, so you can, but it's very hot.
Nice.
You know, Carla love her beach.
Yeah, I had to because this weather is extremely hot. I heard Candice saying that it was cooler today. I don't know where she got that
Maybe
from,
at
but
my end.
Actually, we
just
didn't-
before I left the house, it
was
wasn't
air
that
conditioned
hot.
space.
Maybe.
So it's really cool.
Remember, Sharina put that thing in the thing. We didn't even reference it yesterday.
What's
to,
that?
to Carla's point, the thing about the extreme heat.
Oh yes.
Yeah, it's gonna
There's
be extra
some-
hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about. Oh, Candice, by the way, how you like the soup bowl?
Thank you very much.
What you thought of-
I gave one to my godson's mom, so I'm hoping that when she makes the soup, I get invited over.
Okay, nice.
You know, she should make some.
Is
She
it
should.
like a bowl that
it
Carla
was a
made?
bowl with
Yeah.
like a
Carla made?
nice quote inside of
Yeah.
it. So every time they're eating the soup, they could see that, and then it had the ingredients to make us a pot of soup.
Carla, question.
Oh, nice. That's nice.
Carla, one of my questions, one of my concerns about the pottery. Do you know if those glazes are like totally non-toxic, and you don't have stuff?
I use lead-free dinnerware safe glazes.
Leaching. Okay. All right.
I do a low fire. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Nice.
I heard you all talking about the phone, the people's, thing with the phone, and I must say, that as a mom, I went through a little stress, me and my ex-husband with our son, and, it's very sad that one police officer chose to record what was going on, and that was really distasteful and something that went viral, very insensitive.
Yes.
And so, that just goes to show, we are so quick to record and record, not thinking of other people.
That is
very, very disheartening that something like this occurred, and no one is seeming to want to take responsibility, but this is something that has to be properly investigated because, for a police officer to actually take out their phone and then for that to go viral was absolutely horrible.
Yeah, I'm so sorry you went through that. I mean, and it's crazy because people just don't know time and place. Because I fell asleep, I woke up, I saw the video on my phone, and my first thought was, oh my goodness, I wonder what's happening with the individual and what was happening with you, because we had spoken to you just the day before. But I never in my mind thought that it was a police until yesterday. One of my staff members said to me, Candy, it was a police that leaked the video. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that just, it's really, really very, very tragic.
I guess this is a good time.
Anyway,
yeah,
it's one of the things, mothering, fathering.
But Carla,
very tough.
Keeps you on your toes.
The wife, everybody, it's just very distressing for everybody.
Yeah. Carla, here's what I'm
praying that all will be well.
It will. Hang in there and have faith.
Carla, here's what I'm going to say. I know you have your militant side, but if you remembered what happened with Kobe Bryant and the cops that took the pictures of Kobe and his the passengers in the helicopter dead, they got in trouble. I think they're in jail now. Actually, I believe this is. Yeah, look it up. Because it was cops who leaked the pictures of Kobe lying there dead in the helicopter with his daughter and the pilot and everything. So this is a good time to start a push to get legislation to make these police officers and first responders more responsible. So.
And you heard the first responders say it. Stop making these videos and sending them around. To what end?
Exactly.
Precisely. Precisely. It makes it so much tougher on the individual and whatever they are going through and the families of individuals.
Yes.
Have become more, just kinder.
I mean, I did get the video. And I must tell you, I haven't watched the entire video. I think I watched like 5 seconds. And I still haven't seen the whole video. But no, you're telling me that a cop actually leaked that. That's terrible.
I don't understand what the motivation could have been. And it just shows that we need more sensitization going around in terms of even what was being suggested, EMTs, the police, journalists, all media personnel. So
it's so unprofessional.
Yeah, thank you so much for highlighting that,
Carla.
Yes.
That's the last thought. We are in the midst of CXCs, and let's just pray for all our children, mine including, who are writing CXCs.
Definitely.
CAPE exams, that they have as much clarity. We know we want Azad's children to come out shining. Let him, he loved that. So.
Yes, thank you so much.
Everyone, just wishing all the kids all the best.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you, and have a good one today, Carla. Keep your head up.
I actually submitted the IE grades yesterday. I was under some pressure to match those.
Hang in there, kids. Stay focused. Breathe. Remember, yes, it is an exam, but it's only an exam. You still have the rest of your life. So.
Yeah, I know. A teacher told me he had the invigilated exam yesterday. I didn't even realize that.
No, I used to have terrible exam pressure. Terrible, especially when I did CXCs. Like, it was insane.
I used to have migraines during
I would start sweating in my palms, and then I start getting paranoid. I used to have horrible exam pressure.
I still have dreams of having to prepare for an exam, and I blame law school for that.
Let me tell
You
you.
know?
My
'Cause
sister
those-
messaged me yesterday, tell me she was having a bad dream that she got there late for an economics exam. She's
Yeah.
doing computer science, so she's not even studying economics, right? She woke up with her heart racing. I'm like, child, you need to
Also,
chill.
you had the dreams too, like you think you're actually.
For me,
and
I
then you
used
wake
to
up
like
and say-
wake up in the middle of the night, like
Yeah, me
especially if
too.
it's like one of those subjects that I don't
Me
like,
too.
and math
Yeah.
was one of them, and be like, oh my God, do I remember how to do this? So it's like before the exam, in the middle of the night, I'm looking up, like getting up, I might go look up something like quadratic equations or something like that,
Man,
instead
I
of
th-
trying
I-
to get like a good night
I
rest
thought
before.
it was me alone.
You know, so
trying to
and I can tell you guys, like for all the children or parents of children that are writing exams, please just let them know that whatever happens, it's okay. It's not the end of the world, because that is the pressure that used to drive me crazy.
You remember, like,
You know?
you're just going in your head and you're thinking, okay, then do I know this? Do I know that?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know this. I need to read up on
Thank
this.
you.
right
So you
now.
get up in the middle of the night, you're gonna put on the light again because like, wait, I don't know the definition for that. So yeah. What helps me a lot is I have a photographic memory, and I would walk around with these little index cards, because especially with law, you have to remember cases, or you have to remember the scenario. So you could say A versus B, or plaintiff versus whatever, but you still have to know the facts of the case. So I would like nickname all of them and then walk around with them on cards. So that would help me to remember the cases. So you got to find out what works for you.
You know what I noticed?
And run with
As
it.
you talk about you having a photo, I noticed when Omaro was reading I was reading from my email on my phone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was just, I was like, damn. He was just rattling it off everything, like
Shall I tell you
off
he
the
had a
top
paper
of.
in front of you?
Oh, he did. Oh, I didn't see it. No, I didn't see it.
Okay, I won't burst your bubble then.
Because remember, look, this is in my way. I didn't see it.
No,
so,
he had
yeah.
a paper.
Oh,
But like
I was like, wow.
that's a studying technique. Like when I'm studying and it's from a textbook, I use different color highlighters, because when I'm in the exam, I call back to memory the color that's on the page, and it helps me to remember what I highlighted.
Yeah.
So find out what technique works for you and use that. But good luck to everybody that is sitting.
I know.
CAPE, CXC, whatever exam it is.
Yes, we want to wish you well.
It works well for me with music. Like, for example, if I'm looking for a CD, for some reason, I always remember what the spine looks like in my...
Exactly.
Oh, same thing with you too? Yeah. So...
If you could remember the picture, or like I make some like weird pattern on the page.
Yeah.
So it helps me to remember what the page says. And like I will sit in the room and pull it back to mine.
Yeah.
So...
Okay.
Find a technique that works and implement it. Good luck, guys. And it's not the end of the world if you don't get the grade that you want.
Oh, and guys, before we leave, the world's oldest dog celebrates his 31st birthday, according to the Guinness
So
World
that's
Record.
31 by 7?
Yeah. So imagine, I'm thinking this dog is as old as me.
31 by 7.
No, 31 by 7. What? Is that correct? 200 and something? Wait, hold on.
Yes, the world's oldest
217?
dog recently celebrated
What type
his
of dog is it?
31st birthday according to the Guinness World Record, and his name is Bobby, and he is a pure breed.
Let's see.
I'm gonna let
I
you.
like
He
dogs.
seems to be a breed of Portuguese.
Oh, a pure breed, because I was reading something last night that apparently mixed breeds live longer. So, but then maybe that dog kind of beat the
A Portuguese dog. What's a Portuguese dog?
Yeah.
I like if you had said Cocker Spaniel, Dachshund, something like that, I could relate to. Now I have to go Google what's a Portuguese dog.
Yeah,
Well, happy birthday to Bobby.
Yeah, Bobby is pushing more than 100 people attended a very traditional Portuguese party owner. Local meat and fish was served up to 100 guests.
Wait,
with
I hope they
extra
gave
for
Bobby some of that. Exactly.
Yeah,
Of
who
course.
only eats human food.
Oh,
A
wow.
dance troupe also performed with Bobby participating in one of their routines.
Okay.
Costa
So the dog-
has
the-
owned
the dog
several
goes,
aged
"I'll have the
dogs
lasagna, please."
in the past, including Bobby's mother.
But why is Jamster knocking the dog? Jamster, are you not a dog lover?
Bobby's
really.
mother.
No. You picked that up? How did you pick that
I
up?
don't know why you hitting on Bobby.
Bobby's mother lived up to 18. However, Castor said he never imagined any of his dogs would reach their 30s.
Aw,
We
I
see
love
situations
dogs.
like this as a normal result of the life that they have. But Bobby is one of a kind,
Oh.
said Costa. One of the biggest contributing factor to Bobby's longevity is the calm, peaceful environment in which he lives, according to Costa.
Where do they live? Where do they live? It's in Portugal as well?
Let me see.
Seems that way.
Because Portugal is a blue zone too, huh? The people live really long. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not a dog person.
Yeah.
Are you a
It's a
cat
Portuguese village.
Oh yeah, but Portugal is a blue zone along with some
Yeah.
parts of Japan, and well, Japan in general is a blue
Wait,
zone.
hold on. Are you a cat person?
No, I don't really.
So Bobby's
cats. I think cats are imperious and snooty. So
Yes.
that drives me crazy. So no.
You know, even in
Cats,
dogs
no.
too. Now in his senior years, Bobby finds it difficult to walk, so he prefers to hang out at home in the yard. His eyesight has gotten worse, meaning he often bumps into things when he walks, just like old age humans.
Aw.
Bobby sleeps a lot. He immediately lays down in bed after eating, although on cold nights he chooses to nap by the fire, his owner said.
You're pretty into this, Bobby dog. What's happening
Bobby's
here?
birth date has been confirmed by the Veterinary Medical Service, and Bobby was born in 1992. Okay. Mhm.
Happy birthday, Bobby.
Happy birthday, Bobby.
Not that long ago. I guess for dog years, that's pretty
Right, because
impressive.
they said it's like 7 of our years, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Or something like that.
Yeah.
You never know,
Uh-huh.
but 30 something is a long for
For a
the
dog.
dog. Yeah.
well, at least he's not in pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
so 10:07 we have the Power Hour, Spin Cycle Power Hour coming up. Short and sweet.
Thank you for tuning in
you
today, guys.
could you
Have
guys
an
pop around here for a
awesome
sec
day.
before you guys leave? Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
I have on a belt. I have on a belt, but I will not
I'm
use
wondering.
it.
I wonder if he has food.
No food.
Okay.
We're not
Okay.
going.
Call the police guy.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.